Hi, everyone. Well, it looks like the UAP Disclosure Act has failed for a second year in a row. It has not been included in the upcoming National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, for fiscal year 2025, just as it was essentially gutted and left out in essence from the previous one for fiscal year 2024. The information on this has been out since September 20th from a very good article by Christopher Sharp of the Liberation Times. I've followed Chris's work for a while. He's really good journalism on the UFO UAP subject. I have linked that below for you, and I would encourage you to check out his other articles on this matter as well. So this act was, many of us remember this, was championed by Senators Mike Rounds and Chuck Schumer. It is, from what Sharp's research points out, it has just been essentially bumped from the package. Had it passed, this could have, at least in theory, have revealed some important truths about the United States government, about defense contractors possessing crafts, retrieved alien crafts. Let's just put that right out there. That are capable of transmedium travel or instantaneous acceleration, positive lift, all of these things. The implications, of course, would be staggering if the act were to have been implemented the way that those who developed it wanted it to be. But of course, it did not happen. It would have established a UAP records review board appointed by the president, overseen by the Senate's Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. This board would have had unprecedented power to examine materials, obtain testimonies, protect whistleblowers. Really important part of this. It was designed essentially to prevent those people involved in potential illegal UFO UAP programs from investigating themselves. Christopher Sharp also believed that he found very credible information suggesting that the CIA, the DoD, the Department of Energy have been bypassing democratic oversight in retrieving and studying these advanced objects of unknown origin. He argues, I think he's right, these materials likely have been sent or believed to be sent, have been sent to national labs and defense contractors, including Lockheed Martin. There are multiple programs believed to have been orchestrated by various CIA and Department of Defense components. How many? Good question. So it's interesting. The UAP Disclosure Act was backed by the Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committee, but its inclusion in what's called the manager's package, that's just the everything put together for consideration in the bill. Its inclusion in that was reportedly, according to the article, blocked by Senator Rand Paul, who's the ranking Republican on the Homeland Security Committee. It's worth noting, according to Chris Sharp's journalism on this, that Paul had previously criticized UAP research funding. So he's not a friend, apparently, to UAP transparency or disclosure. According to the article, Senator Schumer himself stated that there were multiple credible sources that had informed him and Senator Rounds that UAP information has been withheld from Congress. That is a serious allegation of legal violations. So that's basically it. Is there hope? Well, depends on how you look at it. Possibility of new UAP hearings, perhaps in the Senate and the House in the coming months. Seriously doubt we're going to see anything before the election. I think that's just not realistic at all. It's also true that the ARRO office, that is the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, does have a new director. His name is Dr. John T. Kozlowski. Is he going to be better than the previous director, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick? Well, time will tell. Really have no idea at this point. There are a few UAP provisions that have been included in the NDAA for the coming year, including, I guess, a review of ARRO following the departure of Dr. Kirkpatrick. We'll just have to see how all of that goes. It doesn't really sound like very much, frankly. Essentially, it's been stripped out of the NDAA once again. And look, I mean, the persistent resistance from elements in the Department of Defense and the intelligence community, it shouldn't surprise anybody. And it shouldn't be surprising that this legislation failed to happen in such a fraught election year. It's not hard imagining that members of Congress would want to take energy away from their reelection. If you're in Congress, they're all up for reelection. And especially such a polarizing presidential election to have to deal with this issue. I would say, however, that the defeat of this Disclosure Act once again underscores the importance of everyone's continued efforts. You know, Agent Mulder always said the truth is out there, and that I think is true. And those of us who care should continue to do everything we can to pursue it. To close on this, I would just like to add, I see this setback as, again, it's disappointing, not surprising, given the long history of government secrecy and obstruction on this subject. I have consistently argued there is a major portion of UFO information that is controlled beyond normal government oversight. I believe that is still the case. I would point out that this failure shows the continued strength of the classified world in dealing with this issue. And I believe that true disclosure will be a long and very likely difficult process, and probably not achieved through a single piece of legislation. Looking ahead, I might suggest a few things. Continued pressure through any kind of, whether legislative efforts, if that is still even possible, I don't really know, but it should be looked into. I mean, you really have to wonder at this point if Congress is good for much at all on this. Maybe it can be. Maybe if we're in an off election year, something else can happen. We'll just have to see. But definitely a focus on gathering and analyzing witness testimony and any kind of documentation, whether leaked or confirmed. Many of these, I think, historically have provided some of the best evidence and ability to move this issue forward, particularly, I think, hearings with witness testimony. And toward that end, I think, leveraging public interest, media coverage as well to keep the issue alive, I think is important, particularly in the face of official stonewalling, which is what we are looking at. I do think we should continue to explore the possibility that partial disclosures may occur through unofficial channels or various types of leaks that may happen rather than formal government action. I think we're very likely to see that. And, my co-author, Bryce Zabel, and I, when we wrote After Disclosure, almost 15 years ago now, one of the things that we looked at, I think, is still very much in play, is to prepare for potential technological or social disruptions that could force this issue. This was something we speculated about. And, when we're now here, we are in the 2020s in an era of becoming strong AI and all other kinds of technological revolutions going on around us. I think it would be short-sighted to deny that something disruptive could happen technologically that still could force this issue. I would probably just want to emphasize the need for persistence and critical thinking in the face of both secrecy and potential disinformation, which I think we can expect. I would encourage researchers and the public to maintain a vigilance, to question official narratives, and always carefully examine new evidence as it emerges. Not jumping to conclusions one way or the other, but let evidence come out and really let us all look at it carefully as it does appear, and I'm sure it will. We're in an era where this topic is not just going to go away. It's here for the long run. as are we all. We're all in this for the long run. That's all I've got for now. I'll be back with this topic, I'm sure, again. But for now, catch you later.